While other actresses concentrated on being likable, Bette Davis set her sights on being memorable. She won her first Oscar in 1935 for the film Dangerous, and won again in 1938 for Jezebel. She would be nominated 8 more times, but this girl from Lowell, Massachusetts was never to win again, even when she felt she deserved it, as she did for her role opposite Joan Crawford in Whatever Happened to Baby Jane. She married 4 times, the last one to Gary Merrill, her co-star in All About Eve. Like the others, it didn't last. At the age of 39, during her 3rd marriage, she had her first child, Barbara, nicknamed Beady. Betty said that Beady was the love of her life. During her marriage to Gary Merrill, they adopted 2 children, Margot, who is mentally retarded and spent her life in an institution, and Michael, an attorney. Our interview came only a few years after the most traumatic period of her life. She had suffered from a mastectomy, a stroke, and a broken hip, and was courageously fighting back when the greatest blow of all came. Her daughter, Beady, wrote a shocking and unflattering memoir of her life with her mother. After the book's publication, they never spoke again. When I visited Bette Davis in her Manhattan apartment, she had just published her own memoir entitled This and That. We began by talking about my favorite Bette Davis movie. All About Eve was the story of a famous Hollywood actress who had to choose between a career and a man. It sounded like Betty's own story. In your book, you talk about one of your film roles, All About Eve. Yes. All About Eve was Margot Channing, the actress, who was torn between her love of her work and being a woman.
Yes.
How much of Margot Channing is Bette Davis?
None.
You were not torn between your private life and your work?
No, I never worried about growing older the way Margot Channing did.
Mm-hmm.
Not at all. And that was the basic thing that Margot went through that I didn't go through. And I've never been very actressy. Margot was the essence of a Tallulah Bankhead kind of actress. This whole thing. I am much more domestic than that. Care very much about my home. And that was not the most important thing to me, being a glamorous woman. So I never worried I haven't worried about growing older. I don't like it. When I see an old film on television and then see a new one a few days later, yes, it does affect me. I will admit that I regret very, very much. Because every now and then a part comes along and I say, oh, if I were only 20 years younger.
You have a pillow, I hear, that says old age.
Yeah, old age ain't no place for sissies. It's true. Everything happens to you when you start getting older, physically, particularly.
Did you get mellower as you got older? Are you the same?
Oh, I'm afraid not.
That didn't change.
No, I'm afraid that would have been a good change, but I don't think it's happened. No, I don't think so.
You still smoke, don't you?
Oh, yes, definitely.
Nobody could make you give it up even?
Well, I smoke a totally different kind of cigarette. I did conceive that way. No, I enjoy it. It seems to not do me any harm. So I have continued.
What would Bette Davis be without a smoke?
Well, the audience wouldn't know me. As a matter of fact, I would just do one right now.
To please the audience?
To please, yes.
Okay.
Yes. Right.
Now we have to see you use your hand and blow the smoke out the way you do it.
Well, that has to do with the characterization.
Of course, you're aware that you are so wonderful for people to impersonate. I mean, everybody does a Bette Davis. You also do Bette Davis.
You know, it took about 10 years, and it made me very nervous. I thought, until you are impersonated, there is nothing about you that's different. Well, eventually, I had enough mannerisms and enough things for them to caricature me. It's a very important thing, I think.
You know, you make me feel better because people have imitated me, and it used to hurt me. And now, you know, I think, isn't it nice, but it also hurt. Now I think I should be pleased. It's the first time I felt that way.
You must be pleased. It's very, very important for longevity. And on your way to becoming a legend, I think the caricatures are a big help. A big help.
What about What a Dump?
Oh, my God, yes. What a dump. And in the film, this is all I do. I just dust the table. And I say, what a dump. Did nothing with it. Until Mr. Albee wrote Virginia Woolf.
And then they did the impersonation of you.
And Miss Taylor did it brilliantly. And when I do my show that I tour all over the world with, I open up with What a Dump.
How do you say it?
Well, I imitate the imitators. What a dump. But I never said it that way in the beginning. So Edward Albee made that famous.
Why, when people imitate you, do they say, Peter, Peter, Peter? Did you ever say Peter, Peter, Peter?
No, that's not the way I talk at all.
But that's the line that they keep using.
Well, yes, it's dying out, fortunately, Peter, Peter.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know anybody that has the name Peter that I made a film with, actually.
And is the favorite, I'd love to kiss you, but how does it go?
Oh, I think it's funny. I'd love to kiss you, but I just wash my hair.
I love it.
It's cute.
When you first came to Hollywood, you were hardly thought of as a sex symbol in the days when being a sex symbol was very
No. I didn't have any more sex appeal than Slim Somerville, who was a lanky, funny comic. I heard that in an outer office from Junior Lemley one day. I must say it hurt me quite a little. And then I was known as the Little Brown Rand. I didn't care much about that. I'd been kind of attractive, I thought, when I was in the theater. Well, of course I didn't give any idea of sex. I wore no makeup. And I, as a theater actress, knew nothing about the importance of how you look off screen. I just thought how you looked as the character. And eventually I realized one must do something off screen. More than a little lipstick and just a bun.
What was the change? When did you start to be accepted well, like in human bondage, you know, when you were...
That was the first step on the ladder.
Was that it?
Oh, yes, that was the beginning of anybody taking me seriously.
In your new book, you talk about Joan Crawford, and you're very frank about it. Yeah, it's the first time
I have really talked about it.
Yeah.
Yes, that's right.
And you talk about her vanity and the fact that I remember even lying on a beach. This is a story about lying on a beach when she's supposed to be lying on her back, and her vanity got in the way.
Yes, her vanity got in the way. Yes.
Want to tell us about it? You tell it in your book.
Well, she had 3 sets of falsies. And as you know, when any of us are lying flat down, these do not stand up straight like this. They kind of go to the side, usually in a manner. I think even Dolly Parton's probably do, too. I was supposed to run and fall on her. I was almost knocked out, I have to admit, because she insisted on that.
On wearing her
that part,
falsies.
My vanity, that kind of vanity. Yes. Well, she was used to appearing as a beautiful person. It was hard for her to change. It was hard for her to take her nail polish off. It was hard for her to not have... As a matter of fact, she said to all this, "You've taken everything else away from me. I will not give up these." But that was her training. Mm-hmm. And let us say, she came a long way for a little girl who came from where she came. This I will never take away from her. She did.
One of the things that hurt you very much was that you hoped that you might win an Oscar for your part in Whatever Happened to Baby Jane. It would have been your 3rd Oscar.
First time third, too.
First time anyone would have
Aries people have to do it first. First time third.
First time anyone would
No, Joan did not want me to have that.
And you said not only didn't she want you to have it, she campaigned
She worked very hard. She campaigned in New York for all the Eastern Oscar people, saying, if you win, I'll accept your Oscar. And I must say it was quite something to see her standing there clutching it.
Because Anne Bancroft won.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
How'd you feel?
Well, I just felt badly. Thought I should have had it. All due modesty. Should have had it. And the foolish part was, since we were both contributors, but we were winning percentages, would have meant $1 million more to the film, so she cut off her own nose.
Just so you wouldn't win?
Yeah, just so I wouldn't win. Couldn't stand it.
What sustains you?
Really and truly, what sustains me is work. No question.
The work is it, isn't it?
I think the work is it. Yes, and I think when you sort of realize that as you get older, you've made a very big discovery, really. The one thing that really stands by you, I do think that is true.